Hey Taters, this is Tree from treeoflogic.com. So I had this article stored in one of my tabs for the longest time. I didn't get a chance to read it until now because I got people putting tarp on my roof. So we have another storm coming in and I don't have to worry about swimming in one of my bedrooms because of the leaky roof. And that's being handled as we speak, by the way. But anywho, I took some time to sit here and catch up on a lot of articles. And this one, I'm so glad I put this to the side because this is actually happening in the UK. I somewhat see this happening in blue cities like California, New York, and Maine, and maybe Vermont. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention to basically bring up some discussion on who's going to eventually be harmed by this in the end. So let's go and read this together. By the way, I will leave a link to this article because this is what this report comes from. Stigma of white privilege and toxic masculinity damaging white working class boys report. And that report comes from here, the Telegraph. Okay. So I will leave the description to this one. This is the original article where Breitbart got this from. So I'll go ahead and leave that link in the description box for you. So here we go. The prevalence of leftist concepts such as white privilege and toxic masculinity in British society further disadvantages white working class boys, a professor has told a parliamentary committee. In a meeting of the House of Commons Education Select Committee, Professor Matthew Goodwin, a political scientist from the University of Kent, said that white working class boys face a status deficit, as the national conversation typically focuses on historical grievances and other issues facing Black and other minority groups. Quote, we have inadvertently legitimized a view within some communities that they are not treated with the same status, respect, and recognition as others, Goodwin said. Quote, my fear now with the onset of new terms, toxic masculinity, white privilege, this will become even more of a problem as we send a signal to these communities that they are the problem. It is not the system more generally that has let them down. They are the problem, and they should make amends for simply being who they are. Oh my goodness, this is so true. It's like, and the thing about it is like, that's happening here in America. Well, it's been happening here in America. It's like, no, you are born this way. You are born to look at other people. It's like, no. All of this is learned behavior, but basically so is the victim-mindedness of my people with the learned behavior of, oh, woe is me, I can't achieve, whatever, I'm not going to go on a rant. Anyway, let me finish this article. Research submitted to the committee in September found that working class white students are 50% less likely than minority groups to achieve strong passes on the General Certificate of Secondary Education. I don't know what that is. If anybody in the UK or England can tell me what this is or compare it to American schools, let me know. Tests used by universities to determine a student's academic aptitude. So maybe this is the SATs? Oh, wait a minute. I think I'm about to answer my own question. Maybe this is equivalent to the SATs or the ACTs? Maybe? Sort of, kind of? I don't know. White students are also the less likely to enter for a GCSE subjects that have traditionally counted towards the English Baccalaureate Award, with just 37.5 white pupils entering for the award, the lowest of any ethnic group in the country. Whoa. All that diversity, I tell you. As to why working class white students are faring worse than their minority counterparts, Professor Goodwin suggested that cultural factors are likely to blame, explaining that it has been taboo in British society to discuss issues facing poor white boys. This is so true. Gosh, and when you talk about white privilege and then use like, well, what about poor white people in rural areas of the states, particularly in the South? You know, you get these crazy comments like, well, they still got privilege because if I, as a upper middle class black person is driving down the street and they are driving down the street, the police are going to put me over and not them. It's this nonsense, dude. It's like a whole bunch of craziness and fictitious stories that just are not true. In an interview with Breitbart London, mixed race educator and political and social commentator Calvin Robinson confirmed the disparity. Mr. Robinson said, quote, I saw firsthand that black children of African descent excel throughout their time in school and are far more likely to go to university. On the flip side of that coin, working class white boys are the most disadvantaged, and very few people seem brave enough to address the problem. The evidence suggests that if the UK is racist, it is not in a way the hard left would accept. Yeah, you know, you're the only person who can bring this to light are blacks or mixed race. In this case, this guy is black and white, or Asians, or anyone who's just not white. You know, this is the people who are going to have to bring it to, because if a white person was to bring it up, then he will be labeled with some isms, ist, and phobias. So, you know what I'm saying? Emeritus, I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly, professor of education at Cambridge University, Professor Diane Rie, I guess, warned the committee that she fears the lack of national attention given to poorer white communities is resulting in anger and division within that society. This is true. Quote, I think there are growing levels of social resentment and a sense of being left behind among white working classes. Research shows us very high levels of polarization, particularly between highly credentialed groups, those of us with degrees, and those people who leave school with very few qualifications. There's a lack of understanding and empathy for the class, quote, other among all class groups. But I think that it has the most power to injure and to have a detrimental effect on those with the least power in society, those who see themselves as educational failures and losers. Wow. The inquiry was established in April by the chairman of Commons Select Committee for Education, Robert Halfon, in order to study the reasons for some ethnic groups falling behind in society, such as the Roma and the white working class, confirming Professor Goodwin's assertion that is taboo to discuss the issue facing white boys. The conservative MP for Harlow said that by merely establishing the inquiry, he was accused of being racist. Of course he was. Listen, this is something that should be talked about. I always say that, you know, if the left really believes in equality, which they don't, but if they do, why can't we add conversations like this? Why can't, to the topic list actually, why can't we talk about things like this? Clearly this is having an effect. To the point where now what you want working class whites to be as poor as possible, to suffer as possible for what? I don't understand this. And if they're supposed to be the people they're supposed to be morally superior than us on the right, then why aren't we discussing this? Why aren't they bringing this up? Why, without calling someone names? That's the thing about this. What you don't want to have those real conversations about the black community, real conversations about resisting arrest, fighting the police, real conversation about crime, real conversation about the drug use versus the white community versus the black community, real conversations of the fictitious notion that white people have all this privilege. There's no such thing as white privilege. It's money privilege. Okay. Oprah has more privilege than every white person listening to me right now. Okay. Oprah Winfrey. All right. Oprah. The billionaire lady. Okay. So, I mean, it's not about your skin color. It's about the money you have. It's about your finances. It's about how much you're worth, your net worth, all of that. It's about that. If you're rich, if you're super rich, whatever, that's what it's about. It's about money. Always have been, always will be. Just like Wu-Tang say, cash rules everything around me. Okay. It's not about the race, but now you just using race in order to victimize a certain group of people. And I'm trying to see, like, what's the difference between this than what has been done to my people? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, just a very good, interesting article. I would love for you all to discuss this and amongst yourselves and let me know what you think. And I'll include this, like I said, this article came from this article, and I'll include a link in the description box below. So let me know what you think. And yeah, I look forward to hearing your comments about this. So if you like this video, please give it a like, thumbs it up. And feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I will talk to you all next time. Later, taters.